Here we're going to talk about something called a box and whisker plot. And so you might see this on the test. I don't think they often test this concept, but if you see it, the concepts of this are really not that difficult. So you don't want to get this question wrong. And so it's just a plot. It's called box and whisker. You'll kind of see when we plot it out here, it kind of looks like maybe a cat's nose with whiskers coming out of it. So it's just a way to visualize data, okay? And so some of the concepts that you need to know about the box and whisker plot is range. And so range just means the maximum number in your data set minus the minimum number in your data set. And so data set, you can think of scores on a test, heights of people in a classroom, any sort of data you have. The maximum or the highest number minus the minimum or the lowest number, that's the range. The median is the middle number. So when you put all of the data in order, the middle number, that's the median. And I have a video on median. So if you don't know what that is, you should watch that video. And then there's a couple other concepts, one called the first quartile. It's also called the lower quartile, and the third quartile, or the upper quartile. And so this plot is really just to visualize these concepts. And so what you're going to see is you're going to have a data like a number line. And we're going to do an example here in a second, but I just want to give you the general visualization here. So you're going to have numbers on a number line. And then wherever your maximum is, you're going to draw a dot. This is going to be the maximum. And then whatever your minimum is, you'll draw a dot. That's the minimum. And then you find the median. And so let's say the median ends up being here. And then what you're going to do is divide your data set then into quartiles or fourths. A quarter is a fourth of a dollar, right? 25%. So you're going to look at the data between here and find the middle. And that's going to be your first quartile. And then you're going to look at the data on the other side and find, you're going to divide it in half, and that's going to be your fourth quartile. And you make this into a box. And then you draw a line for your median. You're going to draw a line straight up and down. That indicates the median. And then you just draw these whiskers out to the minimum and maximum. So when you're given a box and whisker plot, and probably that's what they're going to give you on the test, they might ask you, what's the maximum? Well, it's this number out here. What's the minimum? It's this number here. What's the median? It's where this line comes down inside the box plot. This is the first quartile. So this means that it's kind of 25% of your data is up to here. This is the upper quartile or the third quartile. So 75% of the data. So this is what it looks like. And then it's just being able to say what those things on the plot represent. So I'm going to take a pause and then I'm going to put a example up on the board. Okay, so here we have an example of test scores of, we'll say, a small classroom. So each one is a test score that someone in the class got. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 students. And so the first student got a 60, the second student got a 95, the third student got a 72, etc. So this is basically what they might present to you is, here are all the scores. The first thing you have to do is put them in ascending order, meaning from the lowest to the highest. So if you remember, to find the median, you always have to put the data set into ascending order. Okay, so that's just this. So it's just this line here is just all of this data, but the lowest up to the highest. All right, so now once we have them in ascending order, we can find the minimum, the maximum, and the median. So our minimum is 58. So we're going to draw the box and whisker plot for this data. So 58. So remember, for the minimum, you just want to put a dot. So here's the number line. I have it going from 50 to 100. So about here would be 58. And we know our maximum is 95. So I'm just going to draw a dot where our maximum is. Now we need to find the median. And so remember, you just go to the middle. So there's 9. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 on this side. There's 4 on that side. The median is 72. And so the median is about here. So we do that. Now we need to find the quartiles, okay? So this was the median, 72. So to find the lower quartile or the first quartile, we just look at this data over here, 58, 60, 64, 64. And we find the median of these 4 numbers, 58, 60, 64, 64. And again, if you don't know how to find the median, please watch that video because I'm going to assume that you know how to do that. So we have these 2 numbers, 60 and 64. We average those together and we get 62. So the first quartile is at 62. So we're going to draw the line at 62 because that's the one side of our box. Then we do the same on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. We look at these 4 data sets or numbers and find the median. So again, it's between 92 and 94. Take the average, so it's 93. So that's the upper quartile. Then we just draw the box. We just connect those 2 lines. And then we draw our whiskers out to our minimum and our maximum. So this is the minimum, this is the maximum, and then we draw a line for the median. And then we know this is our lower quartile, and this is our upper quartile. So this is the box and whisker plot for this data set. So if they give you, let's say they just give you this, this box and whisker plot, and they ask you, what was the best score? What was the best score that someone had in the class? Well, we know it's the max, and we know that it's that dot right there, which is at 95. So we know that the max is designated by that. They might say, what was the lowest score someone got? Well, it's at the minimum, which was 58. And we know that based on this dot here. What was the median? Well, we go to where this line inside the box is, and that's at 72. So those are the types of questions that they're going to ask you once they give you a box plot. They might ask you based on the lower quartile, they might say, the students, 25% of the students had a score of less than what? Well, the quartile, quarter, remember, 25 cents, 25% is here. And remember, we didn't write it down, but it was 62. And I'm sure they would designate the numbers a little bit better than I have here. So you can say 62, 25% had a score less than 62. And that's all that you probably need to know with this box and whisker plot. Just know what it looks like and know what each of these dots and lines mean, and you should be good.